Hi, AD.
Hey, AD, it's Ashley Tisdale.
Well, hello, AD.
Hey, AD, I'm Vanessa Hudgens.
If you watch all the home tours of celebrities and listen to Instagram influencers and well-known designers on how to have a beautiful home, here's what the list would look like. Have a big house. Fill it with expensive designer furniture. No electronics, no cables, anywhere. Don't move anything, don't breathe, stop living, the end. I don't know, guys. Who can live like this? This is why I've created this video, which is a no BS guide on how to create a beautiful home that you'll love for years to come, which is practical, simple to follow, and takes into account that we're humans and we need to be able to live, breathe, make a mess, and sometimes buy the wrong things. When it comes to choosing finishes, try to pick materials that have been around for a really long time. There are certain materials that we find around us that have this enduring and timeless quality, and if you can fill your home with finishes that's made up of these materials, your interior won't feel outdated as quickly, which saves you from having to renovate or change out everything in the next 10-20 years. Everything that you bring into your home should get better with age, including yourself. If you buy something that only looks good on the first day in its perfect condition, you are making life really difficult and expensive for yourself because that is just planned obsolescence. If you are thinking of buying a coffee table, you could get a plastic coffee table that looks super shiny and glossy, but imagine 5 years down the line after you've bumped into it, scratched it, worn it down, it's not going to look shiny and perfect anymore. Whereas if you buy another coffee table that's made of solid wood, sure, over time it gets also a little bit worn down, but you can always sand down the wood and then re-oil it again. The wood itself has a lot of irregularities in the grain, so as an object itself, it's just a little bit imperfect to begin with, which means that it's going to weather future imperfections better. Leather is also a great material that gains a beautiful patina over time, as opposed to a plastic armchair that is completely scratched after a couple of years. Stay away from strong saturated colors. The novelty of having a bright red dining room or a fluorescent pink bedroom will very soon wear off. We are most comfortable in environments that simulate nature as much as possible. So if you fill your home with colors that can only be found in poisonous plants, it will not last very long before you want to paint over it in the complete opposite color. When warm colors dominate your space, it's very likely that the color of the room that's going to be reflecting off all these materials and surfaces will also be warm. And when you fill your home with cold-toned colors, then it's more likely that the color in your room is going to be cold. And we as mammals just enjoy basking in light that's reminiscent of sunshine, of fire, of candlelight. So if you create an environment where the light is likely to be warm, bright, along the shades of nature, it'll make you and everyone that comes to your home feel good in it. Unlike what some modernist architects might suggest, we actually like a little bit of visual complexity. We like decoration, we like variety and textures and interesting things to look at on our walls, on our floors, on our sofas, on our beds. I find that the less I look at minimalist and modern architecture interiors and more at just things I like, the more into ornament that I get. I love some visual complexity. This is different from clutter, which is a whole different thing. Visual complexity is why we find this street more beautiful than this street, this building more beautiful than that building, this material better than this material. So if you want to make your home last a long time because you like it, try to introduce some visual complexity. There are certain patterns that we see again and again throughout history, decorated on top of buildings, laid out on the lobby floors of very fancy hotels, because our mind finds comfort in the symmetry, the complexity, the geometric shape of these patterns. Now, when it comes to furnishing your home, remember that matching furniture is not always the goal. Ironically, if you look at the really beautiful, interesting lived-in homes, the furniture doesn't really match. It's more like a collection of pieces that people have lovingly curated. In fact, a room with intentionally mismatched furniture can be visually appealing and incredibly functional. Let's take chairs as an example. People are different sizes and they sit in different ways. So a room that is filled with different chairs for different functions and different sized people will actually be a lot more functional in the long term because it has that flexibility built in. Decoration and interior design as a concept has spread through our society so widely that it's easy to forget what we actually love when it comes to decorating our homes. From the homeowner's view, i.e. you and me, it's pretty obvious that we should decorate our homes with things that brings us joy and that are important and meaningful. But somehow I think now a lot of people, when it comes to decorating their homes, are more considerate from the visitor's perspective. And this is why then we start to all have the same generic artwork, the same generic decor, and every home starts to look more and more alike. The ironic thing is, when people actually come to our homes, they don't want this generic nonsense any more than we do. What they really want to see are snapshots of your life, interesting memorabilia that you collected on your vacation so they have something to talk about. And I think this is why when I go into someone's home, I really enjoy looking at their bookcases, because it allows you to glimpse inside the content they consume that shapes their mind and how they think. And this is what we find interesting about other people. Really, really personal stuff. So the last piece of design idea I would like to share is that you don't have to follow these Instagram influencers or interior designers or even architects that's sharing their homes blah 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 on social media in order to create a beautiful timeless home that you really, really love. Do it slow. Fill it with things that you enjoy and that tracks your progress through life. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll stay subscribed. And in the meantime, you can check out some of my other videos that might also be interesting in how you can create a beautiful home. Bye!